gotta wrap this thing up. We got a great speaker. He came all the way from Ireland.
Yeah.
To speak to us.
Right.
Hey, all right.
Did you bring any Guinness with you?
No, not today.
You know, if you enjoy music, there's a singing group over there called the Celtic Thunder. I love their music. This guy knows the producer.
No, my buddy designed their website.
His buddy designed their website. I thought that was so cool. Help me with your name. Is it Gerald?
Jared.
Gerard, okay. Gerard Bissett is a author. He's a conference speaker. He is a performance coach and employee empowerment. And he's going to come up here and he's going to share with us. Pay attention, he has a little bit of an accent. By the way, y'all know what Zig Ziglar said about an accent, right? He said, you can take a boy from the South and take him up north, and in a couple of months, he's going to have an accent. You can take a northern boy, bring him down south, and in a couple of months, he's going to be talking normal. Normal. All right, give it up for my friend Gerard.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank David for having me here today, and I'd also like to thank him for saying that marketing is one of the most important things in business. Is that something that everybody here agrees on?
Yes.
Okay, so today I'm really going to talk about a couple of things I've learned about marketing, and I also want to talk about another thing as well. I believe that there's three types of people in this room right now. There's the entrepreneurs, there's the people who are managing businesses, and then there's the wantrepreneurs. Now let me explain what I mean by that. A wantrepreneur is someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, but they really don't know what to do to get there. The entrepreneurs are people who are focusing on business growth. And the managers are the people who are falling into the category of running their business instead of working on their business. So that's what I want to talk about here today. I've also got 3 points on marketing I want to do. My first one is the dangers. It being Halloween, let's get a little dangerous. The dangers of myopic marketing. The second thing is the trap of a red ocean. You know, you guys live by Siesta Key, you know all about the red tide. We're going to talk about the red ocean. And the last thing is retro marketing and how you can apply retro marketing to your business. A little bit about myself. I'm sure you know by my accent that I'm from Dublin, Ireland. It's a great place if everyone want to visit. You know, we can go get a Guinness. You know, I'm the author of 2 books. I have a book coming out now shortly. It's called How to Be the Most Successful Millennial in Your Organization. I also have a podcast show where I've had wonderful, fantastic people on the podcast show share wonderful strategies. Most people who I went to college with, they finished in college and they went home. When I went home every evening, I immersed myself in one thing, and that was personal development and new business strategies. Everyone else was too busy playing their PlayStation, but for 8 years consistently, I read every book on personal development there is out there. The good ones at least. And then after that, during this whole process, I taught myself Spanish. So what I would do was, I would talk to people and immerse myself in the Spanish language, and I'd listen to songs and I'd watch Spanish movies. I'd done this because one reason is I wanted to grow my brain power. And I believe that I've significantly done that. So, you know, this is the United States, and this is really a great place for opportunity because opportunity is everywhere if you look for it. A lot of people in this room have been capitalizing on those opportunities. These are the go-getters. The fact that you're in this room at the moment makes you a part of the 1% of the population. Why? Because you are an action taker. When you take action, you get the results. So before I really get into the content that I want to share with you today, is I want to ask you all a question. Who here knows how many new products or services is launched on a yearly basis?
Say that again, please.
Who here knows how many products or services is launched on a yearly basis?
Wow. Must be good.
Well, there's 30,000 new products launched every year.
Wow. 30,000. Yeah, I'm surprised.
And 90% of those products fail. Does anybody know why those products fail?
No marketing.
No marketing.
Bad marketing.
Or at least very little. I like to use the term myopic marketing, and it's by a guy called Theodore Levitt. And what this Levitt guy says is that we define ourselves in our industry as too narrow. And when, let's say for example, your wife or your husband bought you a lovely new photograph and you want to hang it on the wall. There's a process involved in hanging that picture on the wall. The first thing is you need a hole on the wall. So what do? You go to Home Depot and you pick yourself up a drill. And this guy is trying to sell you a drill, but you really just want to buy the hole on the wall. So if you realize who you are and what's going on in the market space, you can focus on what that customer actually wants. And this becomes a customer satisfaction process rather than a marketing process. So really what Levitt really proposed in this paper was that, who here is familiar with the railroad industry? Okay.
I know.
It was a great industry in the United States a couple of years back, but they were very myopic in where they defined themselves in that industry, because they defined themselves as being railroad industry, whereas people, they wanted transport. So now if the railroad industry had have defined themselves as being the transport industry, they would have diversified into things like airplanes, cars. I think Henry Ford put this best. He said, if I asked people what they want, they would have said faster horses. So that's really what being myopic is. Who here has at one point had a Kodak camera?
Sure.
Yeah. And who here, you bring your camera to the phone store, or not the photo store, and you get your photograph printed out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you know that Kodak actually had the technology for the digital camera? But they withheld it from the marketplace because they were earning so much money from paper prints.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think happened? Sony, one of their competitors, well, they weren't printing out any photographs, so they weren't making any money in that department. And they brought out the digital camera, and they crushed Kodak, because now people had all their photographs instantly at a touch of a button, and it made things so much more convenient. So, with that being said, there needs to be a solution about how you can break out of myopic marketing. The first thing is where is your business going to be in the future? Who here is familiar with the boogie whip industry?
The boogie.
Boogie whip.
Oh, buggy whip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who makes boogie whips anymore? Yeah. And if you're in that industry now, you're done. So really is what industry are you in? Not only now, what industry are you going to be in the future? And that's a core element of marketing, because so much of the modern world is socialism, and marketing is really about being social. Marketing is about not only what your customers want now, but what they will want in the future. And sometimes the customers themselves don't know what they want. You have to show them, you have to lead them in and give them an example of what this feels like. So I believe that when you're marketing in terms of myopic terms, you need to break out of that. Now, I'm not saying red tide here, I'm saying red ocean. Okay? We got a red ocean and we got a blue ocean. Okay, so let's define the two. The red ocean is where 86% of businesses are launched every year. And the reason why it's called the red ocean is because it's very cutthroat competition. That's what makes the ocean red, it makes it bloody. And that, launching your business in that area, the profit impact of that is 39%. Now, the blue ocean is on the other hand, is where, now listen carefully, is where, in the red ocean, supply is increasing, but demand is falling.
Okay.
So what happened here, it's very hard to be competitive, and profit margins are sinking. Whereas in the blue ocean, is created. Who here is familiar with yellowtail wine?
Yeah. Oh, Yellowtail wine, okay.
They're an Australian brand who entered into the US market. There's, I forget the exact figure, but I think 80% of US sales in wine are controlled by 300 companies. But there's over 1,000 wine companies in the United States. And only 300 are getting 80% of the sales. So Yellowtail came in and they created a blue ocean marketing strategy. What they done here was, they didn't target wine drinkers, they targeted people who like to have a beer, people who like to drink Coca-Cola, and it was a fun, sociable wine. And that's how Yellowtail crafted a whole new market in the blue ocean. Another great example of blue ocean thinking and blue ocean marketing strategy is Dyson, the vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
It's completely an unconventional vacuum cleaner. Michael Dyson tried so many times to get his thing right, and eventually the market accepted it for what it was. And now he's probably one of the most successful vacuum cleaner company in the world. So when you're in the blue ocean, this is where you create demand for your company. This is where you want to be. When you're in the blue ocean, you have a 61% greater chance of a profit impact than being in the red ocean. So many times when we're in our business, we lose track of sight, we lose track of what's happening in what I call the external business environment. And we are trapped in our small little bubble. Everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
And we lose sight of that bigger picture. Well, losing sight of that bigger picture can lead to failure in your business. It's happened time and time and time and time again. Look at all the industries that have gone because technology has overpassed them. Kodak is just one example. Look at Walmart. What's happening right now with Walmart? They're trying to compete with Amazon.
Yeah.
Because so many people are moving towards online sales. You don't have to get into your car. You don't have to use money for gasoline. Click of a button, boom, it's at your front door. And now with this Amazon Prime, it's there in 2 days. Free shipping.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be crazy not to be doing that type of technology. And a couple of years back in the United States with the car industry in Detroit, the Japanese took over.
Mm-hmm.
What happened because the Japanese took over? It ruined the United States auto industry. The Japanese had garages and services open 24/7, and it was convenient for the customers. The United States auto industry failed because they were open 9 to 5. They lost sight of the bigger picture. And I think it's important for you not to lose sight of the bigger picture in your business. No matter what it is, you can craft a blue ocean. Break out of the red ocean and craft the blue ocean. And this is where your company finds its own specific niche. Now, the name of my second book is called How to Be the Most Successful Millennial in Your Organization. That speaks to the millennials. That's who I'm targeting with that second book. If I had called that book How to Be the Most Successful Person in the Workplace, it doesn't appeal to everybody. I spoke with Michael here before I started, and I said, he asked me, what's the name of your book? And I said, How to Be the Most Successful Millennial in Your Organization. And he says, that's something I should buy. And I spoke to another guy, and he asked me the same thing. What's the name of your book? And I told him. And he said, my daughter's a millennial. That's something I should buy for her. Because the title calls out that person. So if you're in business and you're a realtor, and you've got this great, fantastic real estate company, and you're downtown Sarasota, and you've got the sign, and you've got the whole works, and you're wondering why no one's coming through your door, and it's frustrating to you. What do? I would say the first thing you do is you need to find your niche. And once you find your niche, you automatically appeal to those people who are looking for things that are in your niche. So I'm sure, David, you got your niche, right? Okay, you got your niche? Yeah, so that's what makes people successful when they have their niche. If you look at a wonderful company, actually based out of Ireland, of course, they provide software, I forget the name of the company, but they provide software for accountants in the technology industry. That's it. No other industry do they cater for. And they cater for accountants in that industry, so it's a very specific area. There's also other things that you wouldn't even be aware of because they're so niche specific, but other people are aware of them because it calls them out. When you're marketing your business and you're moving forward in the right direction, everything I'm talking about today here has been based on Harvard Business Review papers, and it's highly accredited material. And there's a guy, I think he's actually in Ireland as well, in a university, and his last name is Brown, I forget his first name. And he's got a whole framework how marketing your product effectively. There's traditional marketing, or modern marketing some people call it. And then he calls this post-marketing or retro marketing. See, traditionally, people would buy stuff. And you know, when you go to Publix and you want to buy a bar of soap, you don't want to enter a lifetime relationship with Publix or send you coupons, hey, 25% off soap. You just want your bar of soap. Whereas this guy, Brown, he says it's a whole new marketing technique in terms of buying stuff. And the framework is called T's. Now, we don't have the time to go into the full framework today, but there's two elements of that framework that I think are really interesting.
The framework is called what?
T's.
T-E-A-S-E?
Yeah, T-E-A-S-E.
T's.
T's. And it's retro marketing. This is, Apple use retro marketing. Car dealerships use retro marketing because they're marketing higher end products. This is where you create demand for your product or service by limiting the supply. You're almost saying to the customer, here it is, there it goes. You either want it or you don't. So how you use T's in your business is really simple. Who here watches television on a daily basis? And what's the number one reason you watch television? To be entertained. Would everybody agree?
I watch it for news.
Okay. So, if part of the T's framework is entertainment. So it's how can you entertain your customers in a way that leads them through a process to get the sale at the end. There's also other parts of this framework called exclusivity. Why does Apple have a queue outside their door every time they release a new product, and Samsung doesn't? It's because Apple have positioned themselves in the market as an exclusive provider of mobile phones and personal computers. So ask yourself this question: how can I make my business, product, or service exclusive to my customers so that they will bend over backwards to buy from me because I'm exclusive in my marketplace? How you become exclusive is by targeting that specific niche. A friend of mine, he's not here today, I met him here in Sarasota. His father owns a dry cleaning company. 4 years ago, he said to his father, I want a part of the business. And his dad said, yeah, okay, I can give you part of it. What do you want to do? I have this idea for pickup and delivery dry clean service here in Sarasota. So what he done was, he targeted wealthy people in Sarasota who, one, don't have the time to dry clean, who, two, don't want the effort of taking their clothes to the dry cleaners. So he done something that was really inspiring to me. That was, he went knocking doors. He went to these neighborhoods, they knocked the door. They said, hey, I own a dry cleaning company. Do you guys use dry cleaning? And they said, yeah. Well, how about a pickup and delivery service for your dry cleaning? For $2, $3 a shirt, whatever the cost is. He was doing something that nobody else in his marketplace were doing. He created what I call a blue ocean.
Yes, sir.
This is a 24-year-old guy. He'd never been to college, and he created a blue ocean in the marketplace in Sarasota because he's seen an opportunity that other dry cleaners weren't capitalizing on. And he targeted a specific portion of the population. That makes his business, one, exclusive. And me and this guy, we were out for a drive in his car. And he was showing me all this neighborhood where his clients are. And there was this one house, it's a $10 million home. I said, wow, I would love to have them as a client. I said, come on, let's go. What? Yeah, let's go. You like to knock doors? Let's knock the door. So he said, yeah, are you serious? I said, yeah, come on, let's go.
Absolutely.
So the gate was open, they were having a housewarming party. This is about 8:30 at night. I said, hey, let's try it anyway. So we opened the door, there's a Ferrari parked there. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. We walk up the steps and we knock the door. And this lady answers. And she said, can I help you folks? I said, well, yeah, my buddy Donald, he wants to talk to you. So I said, hey, I got a dry cleaning company here in Sarasota. I serve a lot of your people here in your neighborhood. I was just wondering if you want some dry cleaning sometime. And she said, okay, yeah. So then I jumped in, I said, hey, where are you from? I said, well, I'm from France. Oh, that's interesting, we're both Europeans. So for the next 10 minutes, she proceeded to tell me how great my country was and how she loved Irish dancing. Now I told my buddy, if she becomes a customer, I want half the money. So I don't want to put the work in for that sale. So that's what I'm talking about at Create the Blue Ocean. Is that's doing something that your competition is not. Because so often competition, you know, it gets bloody and people are copying each other and oh, Walmart slashed their prices, Public slashes theirs. This guy is selling homes for 2%, I'm selling them for 1.5%. This bank is 2% loans, I'm 1.8. Because you're trying to be better and outperform your competition. Whereas what if you created something that was so special that the competition could not catch up with you? That's what Apple done with their products initially. Now they have fallen down in the ranks a little bit since Samsung, but now Apple, I believe, will create something more exclusive in the future. And they always will maintain the people outside the door because of this exclusivity. Now, let me explain how you can be a little bit more exclusive, because exclusivity is something that this is not when you differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Exclusivity is when you're doing something so well, so differentiated, that the competition will laugh at you if they can't comprehend what it is you are doing. Yes. This is what I'm talking about in terms of marketing. This is the direction of business moving forward. Now you have two choices here today. The first choice is you can walk out of this room and do absolutely nothing, and your business continue as normal. And the second thing is you can do is, how can I position myself exclusively and create a blue ocean strategy moving forward? When you do that, that's when you've created something more powerful. Then the next thing is, how will I entertain my customers? What can I do to be exclusive? So just to conclude on what I've talked about here today is, I said that there's three types of people. There's the entrepreneur, and the manager. So if you're an entrepreneur, I hope you've learned something here today so you can either start your business or take it forward. If you're an entrepreneur, I hope that you've picked up something that you can use in your business today to move it forward. And if you're working on your business as a manager, I hope you've picked up something that instead of working in your business, that you can work on your business and get more sales and take your business to the next level. Then, I also discussed another three things, and that was myopic marketing. Myopic marketing is being too narrow in your market space. This is a place where you don't want to be. The next thing I discussed was getting out of the red ocean. Remember that 86% of businesses start in the red ocean, and 90% of them fail. So you want to be in the blue ocean, where you have a higher profit impact. And the last thing I said was about being exclusive in your marketplace and entertaining your customers to lead them into a place where they will buy from you. So just to conclude, I'd like to see if anybody got any questions?
I have some observations. I mentioned mosquitoes a while ago, and you just used a term that just sends chills up and down my spine, because we're partnered with a company right here in Sarasota that develops, makes, and packages a product that we use for mosquitoes. And praise God, we have exclusivity to that product in Southwest Florida. And that comes right from the manufacturer. So what it's just saying is, we cannot be myopic in our marketing to the public. We have to be different. We have to step outside, get off that railroad track, and do it differently.
Yes.
And that's hard for some people to do. Management or ownership. It's hard for them to take the blinders off and step outside. So exclusivity is great. You're right. And Jess, where'd he go? Oh, talking about skateboards. The kid that used to work for me loved to he would go to Costa Rica twice a year under the auspices of going down to do missionary work. He was going down to surf. He now owns 2 surf shops right here in town where he makes and designs and everything else. But he found his niche.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of him.
I'm glad that you touched on the very basics of marketing your business, and I think that you can do it if you're in the commercial real estate business. I think if you're a lawn guy, I think that if you're a pressure, I mean, there's so much opportunity. I'm reminded of this guy that walked our neighborhood on Siesta Key. He worked for Edward Jones and Sons. His name was Richard Gravely. He came up, he was sweaty, and he was going house to house, knocking on doors. And that's part of their business model at Edward Jones. And it's a very successful business model. Quite frankly, being touched by a human versus being touched by a digital feed out or a tweet or a chat or a Snapchat, whatever they call it, that has got to be a part of someone's marketing plan. And I'm glad that people don't talk about it enough anymore.
You're right.
I have a quick question. At the beginning of your speech, you talked about your personal development instead of playing games when you graduated from college. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, really, I suppose,
Sorry.
is that if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So, as David talked about earlier, expanding your limits.
Right.
So being in a comfort zone scared me so much that I would invest the time expanding those limits. And that's what I've done every day for years. And I still do it every day. So that's basically the essence of what I've done there.
Yeah, we have to become uncomfortable. We have to become comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Growth never happens in our comfort zone. Any other questions?
Are your books on sale in this area?
Yep, on Amazon.com.
Okay.
What was the name of the first book?
The Ultimate Survival Guide for College Success.
And when's book 2 gonna be out about the millennium?
In about a month.
That's awesome. It is.
Here's book 1 right here. Brought that way to show you guys, but you know, it's got everything. The real essence of this book is getting the students' mindset right so that they can actually succeed. And then we give them the strategy how they can succeed.
When you're talking about the Blue Ocean, I've heard of various book, I don't know, it's Blue Ocean Strategy, remember, is that similar
Yep.
to what you're talking
That's
about?
exactly what I was talking about.
Spell your name for us again.
Gerardbissett.
Pronounce your first name.
Gerard.
All right, Gerard Bissett, everybody. All right, we have, you can probably grab a seat. We have a couple of minutes here. I want to do something, and Jared can maybe help us out here. What we want to do is,